Today I'll show you how to crush the 3 most popular openings in chess. It's episode 11 of my speedrun that ends the moment I blunder. And watch until the end, because today what shouldn't have happened, unfortunately did. We will have 4 games, 1 brilliant move, and 1 unforgettable moment. Let's go. Ooh, we are in the Sicilian. I'll go with the knight out. The knight is controlling 2 central squares, and I will play what I usually play in tournaments. This is called Rosso Limo. What is the idea? I want to play the move d4, but at my own tempo. I want to play first c3 and then d4. It's a similar idea to the Spanish, actually. The same exact position, but this pawn is here and this pawn is there. And usually black is not going to fianchetto this bishop because the bishop would be blocked by his own pawn. Anyway, the idea is pretty simple. I want to play the move d4 so that after they take, I take back with the pawn and I have 2 strong central pawns. Now, what is white going to do to stop this idea? d5 is usually a very smart idea. And it works very well when there is a pawn on c3. Why? Because if I take, the queen is going out, but I cannot go with my knight over there. So it's a smart idea. I'll play the move d3, shifting the attention to protecting this pawn that now doesn't need any more protection because they pushed. But this bishop is now a bit complaining. Hey, why did you do that? I could just push and say like, okay, now you deal with a bad center, but I could also just take here. And the more I see, the more I like this idea. Why? Because it gives me some potential of attack on the semi-open file, and black is still a little bit behind on development. So I will play this move. Why? Because I'm stopping the idea of e5. e5 is a free cheese macaroni. I can just snap it. Okay, the bishop is pinning my knight, so I will bring the other knight to defend it. I thought about this move. Now this move is possible because my knight is actually pinned. So I will go just back with the bishop, but this pawn is a problem in the long run. At some point I will play the move queen a4, attacking this knight, and this pawn would be also under pressure. Before that, I will play this move, just asking a question to the bishop. What do you want to do in your life? Do you want to trade or do you want to... This bishop is in big danger. In huge danger. Okay, let's go over here with the queen. We are unpinning the knight, so the knight can now jump forward. Castle is the best way. I am playing the strongest 1400 or 1500 in history of chess. My opponents are playing really well. Okay, we bring a rook to the semi-open file. We complete our development. Simple chess, just improving our position a little bit. f5. This move is extremely unexpected and can be a huge problem. It weakens this diagonal a little bit too much, and this bishop cannot do anything to defend. The first move that you should consider is jumping with a knight here, exploiting all the weaknesses that this pawn has created, and my knight is going there immediately. I can go follow up with queen b3, giving a check, and the king has to move away. This starts to resemble a possible smothered mate example. Okay, I'm going to give this check. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. Very annoying to deal with this, because once the king is going, I can at the very least give this check and they have to give away the rook for the knight. Now the question is, do I have even better? I think simple chess makes very much sense here. We win material. We are +2 because we won a rook, giving away just a minor piece, and we go with the queen back where we were. Now this move is a little bit annoying, taking some space. My bishop is kind of struggling to get a future. If I go here, I need to make sure that I don't, my bishop doesn't get trapped. Because if g5 happens and the pawn is protected, I'm in trouble. But here I'm attacking this knight, so if they don't want... So first of all, g5 is hanging free pawn, I can snap it. And if they don't move this knight away, I can just trade off the knight, solve the problem of my bishop. So they have to move the knight away if they want to try to trap my bishop. And at any point, I can play the move f3, giving to my bishop some extra square. So I'm going there. If this move wouldn't have been good, I could have always gone with the bishop on h2, but the bishop is a little bit sad there. Now, I snap it because the threat of g5 was pretty clear. Also, in general, when you have extra material, trades are good for you. How do they take back? They have to take with the knight, because with the queen, I'm taking here and winning even more material. I'm winning an extra pawn. Very happy to do so. And then activate my other rook. Once you have the advantage, like in this game, I have... Okay, wait a second. I have to calculate the threat of my opponent. They want to come here. What are they threatening? Maybe f3. Then after f3, I want to be able to respond with the move g4. But attention, this knight is actually would be unprotected if that happens. It's all right. I have this move in my pocket. Queen e6. You might say, what is this? Actually, it is a very fun idea. So after f3, I want to play g4, and there is no sacrifice that works here because my queen is recollecting. And you might say, like, Alessia, you are not attacking this bishop because the pawn is pinned. But if the queen is taking here, then I take back there. So it's a friendly way to trade off a few pieces, and maybe I might lose a pawn, but this gives me a better chance to simplify the position, stop the attack, so it's good. Rook there is a bit unfortunate because the king is kind of feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Now, again, trades are good for us. We go for it. And now what? We can play just knight here. The knight is out of danger, not anymore unprotected. We are attacking this pawn. If we take with the queen, we are trading off the queens. Bishop here is a very good move to protect the pawn, but we go forward with the knight with a royal fork threat. Very important. And so they have to either move the king away or to retreat the queen. I think this is a very logical move. One more time, because the king is anyway at risk of getting checked many times. But even if they move the king, I might simply play knight here, attacking the queen, and opala, the pawn is also under attack. And the queen is almost running out of squares. The queen doesn't have many squares. So maybe it has to go here, but then I'm very happy to trade off queens, activate my rook, and enjoy a winning, completely winning endgame. Maybe we will get exactly into that. Yes, we go with the knight here, attacking the queen. The queen is moving here, avoiding the trade, but at the cost of this pawn. Always important, check for threats. What is their idea? Do they have any attacking ideas? And here it's important to see that after f3, I can play the move g3. Why? Because the queen is still protecting this pawn. After the move g4, they could take actually here. It's interesting, but like this, everything is protected. This pawn is protected by the queen, so the queen has to really retreat now. And now the game is not going to last long. We will attack this queen one more time. Difference is that this square is unavailable and we won a pawn already. So the queen has to go back here now. We will trade the queens and they have a big problem, a new big problem, and is this bishop. This bishop is going to be trapped. How? With the move g4. Attacking the bishop with a pawn protected by another pawn. The queen is flying to Bangkok, attacking one pawn and another one. Is this a problem for us? Not really, because we are going to play the move g4. Yes, we are not scared. Of course, we have to avoid one thing. This queen getting here. That will be the kiss of death, and we have to avoid it at all costs. But I think we have enough pieces to take care of our king. The queen is controlling the square. And the king can also always move away and the rook can come on the g-file. It's important to be aware of the risk, but then also to see all the defensive ideas we have. We take now this bishop, also threatening to take that little pony over there. Attention, now the king cannot move away because the rook would be hanging. So we cannot really do that. But what we can do is to start to annoy this king. We give a check. And as you can see, once the king is moving backwards, it's not so easy to give checkmate with the queen, with the knight. And that's a clear example. When you have extra material, you gotta use it. If not, it's like if you don't have it. And this rook now is joining on the open file, wanting to slide on the other side of the board in Australia. And that would be the start of the checkmate combination, because the king has no squares left, but the bishop can still cover. And that's why they just resigned. If they just play a move, let's say queen here, wanting to attack this rook, we give a check, the bishop is covering. We give a check, and the king is out of squares. This is actually a beautiful checkmate. GG's. New game, we have the black pieces. I play the move e5, the knight is out, attacking the pawn. We defend it with the knight. And now they go for the real opus. What's the idea of this opening? They're attacking the knight that is protecting this pawn. I will go for a tricky line. What's the point of bishop out? I'm not even defending this pawn. Now I'm taking here and I say like, hey, you can't take this pawn. Because if they do, the queen is sliding here, attacking the knight and threatening mate and attacking this pawn. So that wouldn't be good. Now they are still not really solving the problem of all the threats here. So this pawn is still unprotected, this pawn is still unprotected. So I will go with the knight there. You might say like, why? And the reason is that at some point I will have to protect this pawn. And either you do it with the move f6, or in this case I will go with the knight here, protecting this pawn. I cannot do it anyway with the natural pawn push, because the pawn is doubled. Now we will castle. Very good. We almost completed the full development. I will play the same move that my opponent did. h6. I want to stop the bishop from getting there. And my idea is that my queen wants to come here. The idea is that I might help the bishop to move forward as well. Sorry, the knight to move forward as well. But the bishop is attacking this little guy, meaning that I have to deal with it. Now, if I take, they take back with the pawn. They have two double pawns, but they get an open file with the rook winking at my queen. And also the pawn is controlling very important central square, so I'm not gonna take there. And I will rather move my bishop back. I'm thinking what could be the best square, and I will go with the bishop here. It seems like the bishop is staring at pawns. But that bishop might get an open way, because d4 is the idea of white in this type of positions. And also, at some point, I might want to go with the knight forward here, and so it will be useful for me to make sure that this pawn is protected. Now, if I take, then they can take back with the bishop, with the knight, with the pawn. I'm not gonna take there. I will play the move rook e8. I'm just protecting this pawn one more time, and also making sure that the moment I take there, I will have lots of pressure on this other pawn. But in general, I feel like it's a very good idea to let them take on e5. Because here you see the difference. The moment I take, they are improving one of their minor pieces. The moment they take, I will be improving one of my minor pieces. Also, there is in this position a very funny tactic that you have every time the queen is attacking the knight and the pawn is on h3. Why? Because this pawn is a little bit overloaded, defending 1 and 2. So if this queen is no longer defending the knight, I will be able to snap it, the pawn is taking, and then I take the knight. Just in case you see this move moving around, you know what move I will play next. Now again, if I take, the knight is coming forward, very powerful, very strong. So I will defend this pawn with the bishop. Why? Because after bishop takes, I'm not taking with the pawn. I would have two double pawns, but I would take with the bishop. And then my, you know the move I'm going to play, snap this pawn. And it's important that here White doesn't have in-between moves. Now, the price to pay is that I have to take with the pawns, so these pawns are doubled and a little bit weak because they are isolated, meaning that they cannot be protected by any other pawn. But it's all right. We've got an extra pawn here on the king side, which is also a pawn less that is protecting the king. Now, they are not taking, which makes sense because they don't want my queen to infiltrate that way. I will bring my rook here, winking at the queen myself. So the bishop is threatening some. The bishop, like, they don't care. But I think not to care is absolutely wrong, because the bishop can very well take this beautiful pony, little pawn, and the queen is under attack. Okay, actually I should have calculated this a little bit better, because the moment the queen moves away, now bishop 1 and bishop 2 are both hanging. Yeah. Now I can take this pawn, and I'm attacking this knight, but this knight can move, attacking my bishop, and so again I have 2 pieces hanging. So this was for sure a mistake. Should have retreated this bishop. We'll try to make things messy. I will go with the bishop here. I'm pinning this knight, and my idea is that I want to jump forward with the knight, and this knight has problems. Big problems. Okay, they're trading. Very smart, because they have extra material. Every time you have extra material, you should go for trades to simplify the position. What is the material? Actually, we have 3 pawns for a piece. So they are trying to get even more material. Now, at the very least, I can take, and after this, I take back with the knight. But can I set up my favorite checkmate idea, which is the kiss of death? And I think I can. I think this move is too slow. So I will actually take here with the knight, and they have to take. I take back with the bishop, and now, if I can slide my queen on g2, this would be kiss of death. There is just 1 move that defends. Actually 2. They could sacrifice the queen. This move is not defending. Queen f1 would have been the only move guarding the square. So now I give a check, and I will slide on g2. There was a little blunderino over there, but we came back pretty quickly. And I will show you what happens if they go back with the queen on f1, because still you have a very nice attacking idea. Okay, GG's after the king is moving is checkmate. Quick analysis. Taking this pawn was actually an inaccuracy, as we saw in the game. Black was still better even after everything we have seen, because simply there is too much compensation here, but I got a little bit lucky there. What would have been way better is to simply, for example, I'd say move back this bishop. That's a perfect move, pinning the knight, and still the threat of knight h4 is there, but I'm not a piece down. So very simple move. I love it. New game. We play e5 one more time. I just love this opening so much. And we are in the Italian game. And here I always go for the 2 knights defense, inviting the fried lever. I'm not scared of the fried lever at all. It's a nice threat, but if you know what to play with black, you're doing absolutely great. d3 is the main move here. The knight was attacking a pawn, so you are defending. And now I will show you a very fine idea for black to get huge control over the center. What I want to do is to go for castle and move d5. Let's see if white will allow us to do. Yes, they do. So a3 is a little bit of a slow move. So we can go for d5, fighting immediately for the center. Once they take, we take back with the knight, and we are claiming good control over the center. Usually this idea is very powerful once they play the move c3. Now without the move c3, but with the move a3, maybe this is a little bit better version for white. But our idea is that if we complete the development, we have stronger control over the center. What could be the downside is that for a while we have a few weaknesses to address. Because this pawn, for example, is now attacked twice. And it's not as simple to defend. But I see a very nasty idea which is bishop here. I'm trying to calculate what if queen e4, attacking the bishop and attacking the knight. But at the very least, we can go back with the knight, attacking the queen. The queen would have to retreat. And the threat is always this. This is my favorite combination. When I started playing chess, I was very little and I got so excited by this type of tactic. Once the queen is pinned to this bishop, I can jump my knight forward on d4, attacking the knight one more time. Don't forget to subscribe if you also like this idea. It's really so powerful and made me win so many games. And I think now the queen doesn't have many squares to go. Where is the queen going? Here, we take it. Here, we take it. Here, we take it. Here, we take it. No, 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 no. All these squares are all unavailable. All unavailable. So the queen cannot go back here. So the queen has 2 squares. If the queen goes here, then we can take and the king is losing shield. Plus, this pawn is unprotected, this pawn is unprotected, so actually the knight can jump forward. So I think white is in bad position. And now we see my favorite tactical attacking idea. I play it since 1998. No, I'm kidding. I was just born in 1998. I play since 2007 and I just love it. It's so powerful. Now the queen has to move and then we are gonna take. Ooh, ooh. I just didn't expect this because you see the queen is in a bad spot. Because look at this, if a knight is here, attention, is a royal fork. But what's their idea? If I take here, they want to take this bishop, they are counterattacking this. But what I can do is something pretty simple. I take here in between check, giving a check. So they have to take back. And now my bishop and this other bishop are under attack. But first of all, I could play bishop here, attacking the queen, and the queen has to move one more time. Second idea, I could move my bishop there, attacking the rook. But if I do this, they could maybe take here. And once I take the rook, they take 2 bishops for a rook. I don't want that. So I will probably move this bishop. And now the question is, where? Here or there? Because the bishop here is looking at this point. The bishop here is looking at this point. Which one is more important for the attack? And I say this one. And the idea is that with bishop here, I'm actually removing a very important defensive idea, queen to g3, stopping, protecting the g file that is right now very exposed. If my queen can somehow get to g2, of course protected, that would be mate. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Once the queen is moving, I will go with my bishop on h3, attacking the rook, forcing the rook to move. And then the only thing remaining is to slide a queen on the g file. It's still not going to be super easy, okay, because there is a bishop controlling this square, but my knight will try to slide forward. And again, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Knight h5. There is also a very good move, very possible good move. Rook e1, attacking the queen and the rook behind. But here I don't want to waste time. I just want to checkmate. And that's why I'm bringing the knight towards f4. I could also play queen here now that I see. Yes, I will go with this move. Because they have a defensive idea and is to bring the knight here and then on g3, blocking again the g file. So I want to be able to stop it and somehow be ready also to bring a rook here, pinning the knight. If the knight comes here, I will just pin it. And then I might even sacrifice the rook to give mate. Also, with queen h4, I'm setting up another idea, which is to move this bishop away and then to take this pawn. Or actually, to just nab this pawn with check, sacrificing the bishop. And this is extremely nasty. Because after king takes, the bishop is going to give a discovery check. And we are gonna harass this little queen. It is now crying, desperate. So there is just one move that doesn't lose the queen immediately, and this king h1. Because if they take, we play bishop f1, the king is in check, has to move, and then we take the queen. For 2 bishops, that's a fair deal. If they move the king there, then we still have a crushing attack because now the king has no protection anymore. So what we can just do is bring this bishop back. Like bring it here, for example. Now I'm threatening bishop f1, winning the queen. And if they trade, I could still give the check. I could also take back and say like, I'll give even mate because the knight will help to the attack. The bishop is taking back, and again, I could win a queen, but I think this move is even stronger. The threat is stronger than his own execution. I'm attacking a queen, threatening this check that wins the queen, and the biggest threat is this one, bishop check here. The king has just one square to move, and then we slide the queen towards glory. h1 is just checkmate. Bishop takes was a beautiful, brilliant move, and also taking back with the knight is actually the best move in this position. The threat is stronger than his own execution because here, if we give this check, then the bishop can cover. It's still a completely winning position for black, but taking with the knight is the most precise move. GG's. Last game, we face 1d4, and I like to play knight f6. The idea is that with the knight I'm controlling another central square, so the pawn cannot go in the center. Now, what will they play? Okay, knight here. The knight is supporting the pawn, controlling the square. I will play the move e6. Usually against 1d4, what you can do is to simply develop your king side by knight here, this, pawn there, and castle. Usually the pawn will go on d5 sooner or later, and we will play very simple. Let's try to do something very simple. To be fair, if you want it even simpler, you can play it move 1, 1d5. And then you develop as I did, with the knight, with the pawn, and with the bishop. Now, knight here, the knight usually shouldn't go there. We will play the move short castle, because in d4, d5 structure, you want to attack the center with the move c5, and I will go immediately for it. Already, I'm threatening something pretty strong. c4, knocking this bishop back. I am not even sure if I should play that move or not. What I will do is to develop my knight here, a very natural square. The knight is attacking this pawn one more time, and also kind of looking at the e5 square. In some cases, that might be a possibility. But before striking in the center, there is still one task to complete, and this to fully develop all my pieces. Which piece is still not playing? This little bishop. How to develop it? Well, b6, bishop b7 is usually a possible idea. Also possible to try to play for the move e5 so that the bishop can go out this other way. Knight on the side is attacking this pawn and kind of provoking me to play this move. Why am I going for it? Because I want to tempo on the bishop, and then I can move forward with my idea. There is one idea I didn't mention yet, and it's to go with this knight on this very beautiful central square. And now I can do so because once the bishop is moving, there is nobody controlling that square anymore. The knight is gone. And look at the difference between this knight and this knight. Strong knight, kind of bad knight. Okay, I'm taking back with the queen, kind of liberating the first rank, well, the 8th rank, because I'm black. This knight here is very powerful, and if the knight will ever come back, I can always snap it, and they end up with double pawns, which is a small weakness, so not really ideal for them. What is my only problem in this position? This bishop, definitely. This bishop is still crying for help, wants to play, but didn't find a future yet. Okay, they would like to trade the knights. This makes sense. I will just go back with the knight. I don't want to trade. This knight is a bit passive. This knight is still on the side of the board. If the knight goes forward here, I can always play the move b6, kicking it one more time backwards. Okay, they would like to trade the pawns. Now, this move is really inviting, but I'm leaving this square for the knight. So do I want to allow that? Yes, I will allow that. And just because I have a way to kick away this knight. If the knight ever lands there, I can retreat my knight to b7 and offer a trade. And once the trade is happening, then this bishop on b7 is kind of feeling a little bit better about his future. And the reason is that once they trade, I might take with this pawn, opening up the big diagonal for this bishop. And this might happen actually. If they take, I might take back with this pawn, opening up this bishop that gets a nice future. Okay, this move is very interesting. They're threatening to take a pawn. If I push, this one is unprotected. I have a few options here. I could push attacking this knight and then push forward. I could also simply defend it this way. And I think this is what I'll do. Because if I push, there might be an in-between move. Pawn takes here, attacking also my knight. And after I take, they take back here, I take with the bishop, and after this I lost the pawn. So we play the move a6. It's very important to notice that after trade, my rook is well protected behind. I don't lose my rook. If the bishop would be back there, then that would be really bad. Okay, this is a little bit unexpected, but I understand their idea. They might want to block all the pawns on the same squares as of my bishop, so they want to block my pawns on the light squares. And then my bishop is kind of sad. So I will try to prepare the move e5, and I will play the move f6. I just want to play e5 and attack the center and open potentially a new diagonal for this bishop. Rook e1, it's time for me to go for the center. This rook is kind of ready to, maybe one day the e-file is going to be open if I ever take here. For now I have other things to... Ooh. I didn't expect this move, but it seems very strong. So if I take, their idea is to take here and suddenly the queen is looking to a very strong square. I need to do some very deep calculation here. So if I take, pawn takes, I take here, they take there. But if I take here, there is bishop check. That's crazy. This is a crazy tactic. I might have to get my queen out of the way. I'm also running out of time, so I have to speed up. I will take this pawn. And it's dangerous if they decide to take this one, because I might just lose a pawn. Okay, they just take back like this. I take this pawn. This could be a little bit dangerous, but we are holding. I just have 45 seconds. This is problematic. Oh no, my time again. I will try to go for it and be silent. This is terrible. Terrible. Yep, I'm very sorry, but we have a blunder. And this marks the end of this speedrun. This knight move is a problem because we are attacking the rook, but the rook is not really under attack. White should have sacrificed the rook to take this pawn. And the threat is too big. White is threatening checkmate. If we take the rook, this is checkmate. Beautiful. And the only move for black here, the king cannot move to any square. So the rook is the only move. The rook has to be sacrificed. Now the rook is still under attack, so white is first giving a check, the king is moving, and then this rook is captured. And this endgame would have been completely winning for white. I lost later on, as we saw in time, but this endgame would have been equal. But my biggest blunder was honestly to think way too much, explain way too much, and ended up blundering. But hey, this is a huge, huge lesson that perfect chess doesn't exist. We all blunder. You blunder, I blunder, Magnus Carlsen blunder, we all blunder. But if we can learn from our mistakes and improve a little bit every single day, then chess can be lots of fun. If you enjoyed this video, go check out this one. YouTube thinks you will love it. And don't forget to subscribe because it makes me happy. So check out this video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.